My name is Charles Mathews, and today I'm with Thulani Sibeko, Group Marketing Executive of Standard Bank. Standard Bank are doing a brand transformation, and we're going to be talking about their new positioning. It can be. Welcome, Thulani.
Hi, Charles. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Well, you tell me, what are you doing with the brand transformation, and what kind of transformations are you bringing that will be hugely meaningful to employees and to your customers?
It was critical for us, as you rightly put, that whatever we do is relevant for our employees, is relevant for customers, and for the community and society in general. And we wanted to be sure that also we don't just sing our own song. Mm-hmm. So what we started off with was research, which we conducted not only in South Africa, but in 3 other African countries. Why was this important? As you can appreciate, being Standard Bank present in more than 20 countries, we wanted to ensure that we are relevant throughout. But the other critical bit is that we were able to harness insights from the leadership of the organization, talk to ordinary staff, but more critically, to speak to customers of different segments for that matter. We spoke to individuals of different socioeconomic status. We spoke to businesses, small and to large corporates. And at the core of it, we wanted to understand what matters most to them. And at the same time, to ensure that what we aspire to become is true to who we are and is consistent with the things that we can do. As you and I know, any brand repositioning has some stretch. We didn't look for something that we live and fully deliver today, but we look for something beyond that. And in the course of the research that we undertook, it was remarkable the kind of findings that we came across, but most notable, that was common across the 4 countries, that was common across the different client segments. It was this notion of dreams. It was very evident that our continent is full of dreamers. It's full of believers. It's full of doers. And not only is the presence of believers and doers, there was something remarkable that came through in this notion of dreams. It was the notion that led us as an organization to form a point of view that says dreams matter. Dreams matter because they fuel growth. When we go into unexplored paths and make those dreams possible, we are able to realize growth. And this was a very rich territory for us, partly because our very own purpose statement is about Africa as our home and us driving her growth. So there was this natural synergy, finding something that we can own, but more importantly, something that is true to who we are. And that led us to our new brand promise that says we are finding new ways to make dreams possible. So that is the new brand promise that we aspire to live up to, translated into the payoff line, it can be. And it was a wonderful journey. You recall I mentioned that we wanted to become human. I hope when you hear it can be, it doesn't sound like a bank to you. And it was part of our achievement. And we believe that our role as an organization, when you look at the journey that we've taken, it goes as follows. Firstly, we ask ourselves, what should this positioning do? And the key thing was that we want customers, current and also prospective customers, to have a positive reappraisal of the brand. It's very difficult to want reappraisal and keep sounding the same. So that was the first thing, a positive reappraisal. The second thing was this point that we talked about, as much as we found that Africa is full of dreamers, we also recognize that these dreams, day in, day out, are confronted with inhibitors that prevent them from achieving those dreams. Then the question was, what is then the brand role of Standard Bank in this journey? Simple. Our role is to enable these dreamers to realize their dreams. So the inhibitors, we framed them as despair. That's the enemy we are against. And what is our idea? It's about belief and confidence. So that's how the two come together. And we do hope that as a takeaway, people can say, with Standard Bank, our dreams can become possible.
A big challenge surely is kind of recreating the brand as an African brand. How do you address that challenge of kind of taking what was, from a legacy perspective, Standard Bank is a South African brand, and how do you embed it in Africa and tell the story of Africa, which is just such a complex story?
Your point is an important one. Our expansion into the rest of the continent actually is so much older that when you look at when we went into the likes of Zimbabwe, it's more than 100 years old.
Okay.
But your point is a valid one because there's a liability of being foreign when you go into any country. And I think here, this is where you find the values that have driven Standard Bank. Firstly, wherever we have gone with respect of the local context, and we have ensured that the brand is relevant and meaningful within the local context. But also more substantively, if you look at the countries that we are in most of those countries by far, they are led by local people. It's one thing to talk about respect, but it's quite another to show it. You mentioned a very difficult time for the continent with issues of xenophobia, which have happened in different countries at different points in the last while. And the view that we've always taken is that we are African who happen to be in South Africa. And when you take that lens, so wherever you are in the continent, you are African. There's a brotherhood and sisterhood and just the honor and respect that is mutually exchangeable. But the other thing that we promote within the group is that we are a pan-African organization that happens to be domiciled in South Africa. And the way we honor that is that even when it comes to ideas about business, about innovation, we are no longer in the old space of thinking that ideas flow from Johannesburg northward. We are in a space that we say we are privileged to have so much talent from so many countries, and great ideas are taken on board regardless of where they come from, but based on the merit of those ideas. You look at our board, we have leadership not only from South Africa, but from other parts of the continent. You look at our leadership at the executive level, the same is also true. So when we say Africa is our home, it's not a slogan. It's something that we live in reality. And then when we talk about driving the growth of Africa, as I alluded earlier, it's something that happens each country at a time. And we have over the years, over the decades, ensured that we grow our presence in a meaningful and respectful way wherever we are, as opposed to coming in as South Africa, know it all, we can dictate to the rest of the continent. Far from it.
In March of last year, Standard Bank had retrenchments, and they indicated that they would retrench 1,200 people off the back of the digital, the digital kind of transformation projects that everyone is kind of going through. Obviously, that has an effect within the bank, and it breaks down trust within the bank. What have you been doing in the bank, in the walls of the bank, to ensure that everyone feels that they are part of the story, that they have a purpose in the bank, that they feel secure?
What is important is also to understand why certain things happened. The reduction of the floor space of the branch was a direct result of the digitization trends that are happening. If you look at the traditional model of offering bank services, which used to be bricks and mortar, far fewer people were going into the branches to enjoy those services. If you look now, 80% or so of services that are available in the branch are available in the banking app. And that's because of the expectations of our customers. What is little told is that as much as there were people who were affected by the branch reduction, there's even a higher number of people that have been retrained to prepare them for the skills that are required as we shift in terms of the digitization. As recent as 2 weeks ago, we conducted a survey asking our people how they've experienced their own organization in the time of COVID, because to your point, it really depends on how people are treated by the organization. And I'm pleased to say that a huge majority of our people played back very positive sentiments, affirming that the wellness of our employees was not just lip service, but we honored them in this period. I mentioned, or didn't I? For example, in the COVID period, we realized, as just one example, that when schools shut down, not everybody has the services of a nanny or that kind of support. We introduced special leave for parents in addition to their annual leave, that this is the leave that you can take to ensure that you fix your affairs with your children. Through technology, we made sure that when we say to our people, work from home, we made it possible to ensure that they have the equipment, they have what they need to ensure that they are effective. Because when people are expected without the right support, we know how much stress that can induce. But as much as possible, we've ensured that our people are reskilled to make sure that they adapt to the new requirements.
Your point of differentiation must be the experience. I mean, because banking, there's a lot of parity in banking. And a lot of banking is commoditized. So how do you differentiate a brand, in a financial institution?
I grew up in consumer goods. I spent more than 16 years in the likes of Gillette and Procter & Gamble. And by the time I went to services and financial services in particular, I learned very quickly that it's much harder to differentiate. And my held view is that the biggest source of differentiation in financial services is in the how. Because the speed of innovation and catching up is very narrow. Somebody does something today, in 3 months, the most 6 months' time, somebody else will have a similar capability. But at the end of the day, how we make people feel and how people experience us is that it's what sets each brand apart from another. And that has been the thing that motivates us and make us want to do extraordinary things, because we know that firstly they have a choice. No one is held ransom and only can deal with Standard Bank. So we acknowledge that tomorrow they can go elsewhere. So when we have the privilege of serving them, we want to ensure that they feel honored, they feel respected. But above all, it's about creating value for them. Hence, this positioning is so important, finding new ways to make dreams possible. Because no one wakes up in the morning thinking about their bank because they love their bank. People think about banks as a step towards things that are more meaningful for them in life. And we want to make sure that in their journey to those things that are meaningful to them, we can play a part that they invite us into to play to enable the achievement of their dreams.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I really appreciate the time.
And I appreciate speaking to you, and well done on your new positioning. It's very imaginative, very positive, and I'm sure it's going to do incredibly well.
Thank you. It can be.
Take care.